Oops. That was a mistake. Hello, this is Brian Hegney, instructor of Game and Interactive Media Design. And in the last video, we talked about how to set up a blueprint that will rotate this really cool looking monument so that it will cast a shadow on the wall. And if we wanted to end in a plus shape, that's how we might do it, right? And so what we want to do is make this stop at 82.75. And so the way I'm going to do that is by going into my event graph. And what I'm going to do is tell it, well, number one, I have a value that I want it to stop at. So I think what I'm going to do is also create a little, a variable, a Boolean variable, and that red pill is a Boolean. And I'm going to call this unsolved. And this is a yes, no, true, false, 0, 1 condition. And I'm going to compile this and show that it defaults to false. I'm going to click that to true. When you check a Boolean variable, that means it's true, not false. Compile that. So this whole thing, both of these are going to be based on whether or not this is unsolved. So if we step on the box, if it is unsolved, then it's going to make it go, right? So how do we do that? Well, we do a branch, and a branch is an if-then statement. So I'm going to do branch, right? It's flow control. Now, it's usually based on true is going to check things off. That's why I call this unsolved instead of solved. So if unsolved is true, I'm going to get it, drag that condition there. Or you know what? I could have dragged unsolved right into that node and let go, and it would say, okay, unsolved. So if unsolved is true, that means it's unsolved. It's going to play all this animation. And the same thing here. I'm going to do a branch. For some reason, I don't know if I need this, but I'll do it anyway. And it's the same. If unsolved is true, it's unsolved is true. The same thing here. What I'm going to do is set relative rotation. What I'm going to do is fire off here. I'm going to have another thing. It's going to set its rotation, and then something else will happen. It's going to do a branch. And basically, if the conditions are true, if what I say is true, then I'm going to say set, whoops, this way. I'll drag unsolved out to here and say set, connect that. It's going to set unsolved to false, and that means it's solved. False is going to be nothing. So what is that condition? That condition is the rotation of monument between 82.75 and let's say, we could say equals 82.75, but it might skip that value. So in order for me to do this, I'm going to check to see if its rotation is between certain numbers. So number one, I'm going to drag monument out, and I will say get actor, get relative transform, get relative rotation. X. All right, so no, I'm talking now. So what I'm going to do now is check to see what its rotation is. So I'm going to drag out from the monument, and I'm going to say get world rotation. I think that's what I want. And I'm going to say, oh, is it break rotator? And I'm going to check its z-axis, its z rotation. And so what I'm checking for is branch. I'm going to check to see if that is greater than, those are my family. If it's greater than, and I'm going to come back here to monument, 82.75. So is it greater than 82.75? And you know what? There's got to be a greater than and. Greater than and. If they're not, was hoping there would be. How about between? Well, maybe not. Okay, greater than, and we'll say that, hey, is it greater than that? And then what I'm going to do is something kind of lazy, and I'm going to say if that's true, I'm going to do another branch, and it will be, is that branch greater than, or less than 82.9. And if that's true, we are going to set unsolved to false, and that will be true. Yes. Okay. And then that will mean every time this does that, hey, it's not going to update. And the other thing we're going to do is drag. Not in there. I didn't know mommy at that time. The next thing I'm going to do is say, you know what? I'll do another branch here just in case. And I'm going to drag that there. And that way, it'll only pass through here if... Okay. Okay, so it's always going to check to see that it's unsolved. And in the moment it's solved, it will stop rotating it. That's just an extra check. I'm not sure if I needed that. And let's go ahead and play this and see if that works. So we're going to go to this thing. It's going to rotate. And it doesn't work. Ah, okay, I know why it was not working, and I did a very dumb thing. So I'm going to let you know what I did. When it was trying to figure out if it was rotated 82.75 degrees, that was because I clicked my monument. Well, my monument is in this default scene root, and the default scene root is actually set to 0 rotation. And so if I don't rotate that, its world rotation is going to be pretty much 0, more or less. That's not really true, but let's just pretend. So if I click on monument, I actually am not, if I'm rotating the monument, I don't care about its world rotation, I care about its relative rotation within the rest of the blueprint. So I'm going to drag a node out and say, get relative rotation. And from there, I'm going to break that rotation, or break it. I could click BREK, break rotator. I want the rotator. So I've already done that here. I'm just going to plug it in there. And I'm doing the same thing now. The Z is, I'm checking for the Z. Is it between 82.75 and 82.9? And if it is, it's going to go through these branches and set it to unsolved. And I'm going to come here and do the same thing. When I was printing it to the screen, I was clicking on Get World Rotation. So I'm actually going to, I might not have done this in front of you. Oops. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. For this event tick was already existing, and so I'm just going to use it. If you don't have it, you could right-click and say Event Tick, and it's a standard event. It's going to fire 60 times a second. So what I'm going to want to do is drag my monument, get a reference from my monument, say Get Relative Rotation, and from the event execution line, I'm going to just print the string. And I'm going to break my relative rotation into rotators. And all I care about at this moment is the Z, because that's how it rotates around. So this is a little, let me kind of move this so I can see it better. There we go, there we go. So the monument is getting its relative rotation, breaking it into XYZ rotations, and we are printing the Z. Okay, let's compile that, save it, and again, when it reaches that, it's going to stop. So I'm going to play this. I can see it's set to rotate it to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and the moment I step on this button, it starts to rotate it. And when it gets to, oh, of course it didn't work. Now, it probably didn't work because it skipped too quickly, because it just worked a moment ago. And what I need to do is make that the value larger. See, right now it stopped. It's set to 82.777. What I probably need to do to make it work every time is just say, you know what, set this to, how about 83.75. It's probably going to do that pretty easily. I'm going to play it. Come here. Let's see. There it goes, and it stops. Okay. In the next video, which should only take 5 more minutes, I'm going to make the wall move so you can see that. All right. Look forward to you seeing it. Bye.